Hi, I'm Michael Clish, and welcome to our first edition of What's Up. We are going to make this available for viewing through Fort Atkinson Online.com. With me, Christine Spangler, longtime area journalist, editor of the Daily Jefferson County Union, and she is a volunteer writer and consultant with Fort Atkinson Online.
Mm-hmm.
Hi.
Hi, good to see you.
Good to see you. We've worked together before many times in the last 25 years.
When we were friendly competitors, I'd say.
Well, we were, but there were a couple times when I'm thinking of candidates.
I'm thinking more friends
debates.
than competitors.
Yeah. But good to see you again. And what are you going to be doing for What's Up?
Well, today for What's Up, I'm just here chatting with you. For FortAtkinsonOnline.com, I'm helping Kim McDarison, our publisher and reporter, with some editorial consulting and a little writing, just basically a volunteer contributor, some columns, who knows what I'll end up doing. And it's gotten me off of doing all my genealogy at home, so this is probably a good thing. So I'm kind of just helping out wherever I can.
Good.
Yep. I
should mention we're shooting from Good to Go, a downtown Fort Atkinson restaurant that offers full carry-out dine-in menu, sandwiches, salads, bowls. If you want to know what that means, you got to come in. We're looking at a candidates forum coming up. Mm-hmm. We're going to get as many candidates as we can. We're looking at events. We won't be covering strictly Fort Atkinson. Of course, for a while, there's not going to be much of anything. I'm thinking of the county fair and Gemeklikite days and other events, the 4th of July in Whitewater. We'd like to be hopefully talking to some people about that, should the events take place. Some have had to be canceled last year, and we're still not out of the water yet as far as the pandemic goes. But we'll let you know what's up, whatever it is.
Yep.
And as I mentioned, Chris is just one of our consultants, one of the people we're working with. If you have an idea or an event coming up and you'd like to have us talk about it, let us know. And you can do that online, I believe, by going to FortAtkinsonOnline.com and let us know. We're looking for people to talk to, things to talk about.
And not just for the show here, but obviously for our news coverage too. And
yes.
So you send us the information, we'll either give you a call or just write a story off your information, and we'll get it posted online right away. So a little of both.
You're such a newsie.
I'm a newsie. What can I say? Yeah, but I've got to say, I was getting really into snowshoeing with my friends this winter, and 2 weeks ago, I have become the biggest blob ever. So I think this is the first time I actually dressed up, and this is not dressing up, but I actually put on something other than a t-shirt and jeans. So here we are. It's a nice day.
The advantage is nobody's visiting. However, if you go out, you got to put. I had to shave today. I had to use clippers shears to get it off. But have you had a shot yet?
No, I'm not 65. I'm a young'un. I've got a half a year to go. My husband's on the list of summer places. So.
Well, I had one. I got the other one scheduled. And
well, you're fortunate. I
very.
Certainly am saying that people should be getting on those lists if you can, because it's extremely important to do so.
It is. Get the shot if you can. Otherwise, get the mask. Nice looking mask you got there.
Thank you. Yeah, I got at the Fort Atkinson Farmers Market this last fall. Bought a couple of them. They were so pretty. So, I don't know if you had something specific, but I had a couple thoughts.
By all means.
And I'm always willing to talk. When I was thinking about today, what's changed in journalism. I mean, I've been in it for 42 and a half years. You've been in it for at least 25, if not more, locally.
This was a new career for me.
Okay.
When I came to Fort Atkinson for WFAW.
Well, it was a new career for me as a city reporter, a little cub reporter coming in '78 after college. So I just never left. But and so I was thinking about all the changes in journalism, and some of them, are obvious, the internet, and we can talk about those. But when some of the ones I just thought about was when I first came to town in '78. I was part of a wave of the post Watergate journalism majors. I didn't go into journalism because of Watergate, like a lot of people did. I wanted to be a community journalist, but a lot of people did. There was this big influx of us, and we were everywhere. And you come to a small town or a community like this, we covered everything. We told you everything about everybody. So I was thinking about how I had a picture of a little boy on his tricycle in the snow, right? Just something kind of odd. And I get his name, Jimmy Johnson, and his age, and his parents, son of, and his address, and everything that you need to know where to find him if you ever are looking for them. Okay, later on, not so much. Another thing is just the hospital. The hospital would give us admissions information. Who was in the hospital? When they were getting out. People love that. And as time went on, obviously child safety, we stopped doing this is where you can find a child, which, is terrible, but you think about that. People started, it was more about privacy. We don't want our hospital news in. And people were upset about it. They were like, why aren't you doing that? And we were trying to go along with what society was doing as the HIPAA laws and all these things. So in the newsroom, we had to be a little less newsy, if that was the case. And for people like us, it was like, but I have to have it all in there. Well, sometimes you don't. And that's been going through the years, even from court cases where, okay, maybe we put in too much information, but you should have seen all the stuff we didn't put in. We had to learn different things because society has changed so much. And that's just the least of it. I mean, that's just something I was thinking about the other day, and it's so different today if you read the paper and what you get than it is 40 years ago.
In journalism, they have a saying, if you want to know about an event, immediately you turn on the radio. If you want the story of what happened, buy the newspaper.
Yeah.
If you want to know everything, wait for the book.
Well, I'm not a book writer, so they're going to have to wait a long time. But it's true. And I think for community journalism, the local radio station, the local newspapers, it's so important. But I've seen, as time's gone on, newspapers in their hand are not not being purchased as much because of more changes thanks to technology and the internet in particular.
I have a confession to make. I got a lot of stuff I did on my show from the union.
Oh yeah, I knew that.
Oh, imagine my relief.
we always gotta laugh, and it's strictly us being snarky. We always say, well, okay, now what does Michael have? And I gotta say, you scoop me sometimes, but we'd say, well, tomorrow Michael will be talking about X and Y. Oh, yeah, he did, yeah. But that's, every newspaper loves to give the radio station a hard time because they think, we all say, oh, well, they just pick up the paper and read the headlines. But that's just for fun. But but it's so important to have, and with your call-in show, so important to have that give and take in the community. Letters to the editor, just those things that people could feel that they are part of that community and they have their say, and people care about what the issues are and what they have to think about them.
Yes, I agree. No matter what it is we're talking about, if it's a pancake breakfast, it's a fundraiser for somebody, or it's or the county nurse talking about this pandemic.
We're all in it.
We're all in it.
It affects all of us. And that's why I'd like to throw a little, for Fort Atkinson Online, we would love to have letters to the editor too and stuff. So, we want to have people, we have our take, we want to have your take. So it continues, it can continue in this format too.
All right. Indeed.
How has internet affected radio?
In some ways, it's made it easier. Information like that.
Right.
In some ways, it's made it more difficult, mainly misinformation that's out there. I've got people calling me, or I've had people call me and tell me a story I just read from the Associated Press is false.
Yep.
No, I try to say, no, it isn't.
And I think when the internet first arrived on the scene, and none of us hardly even knew what it was hardly, that's all fine and dandy, but as more and more people got into social media, and as they started to be reading sites that were more maybe they're geared toward their particular persuasions, interests, whatever, they started to have a lot more, maybe they were looking at things that were a little more slanted.
Yeah.
And so it didn't matter down the line what you would write on your site, because I like to think that journalists are, they're fact-based and they're telling you the truth and they have integrity and you should be trusting them. But if people start to be bombarded by all the things that are coming on the news sites that they prefer because they agree with that particular thing, that's where the whole fake news thing comes from.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but even in a town like Fort Atkinson, Jefferson County, we felt the anti-media feeling of false news. And I never understood that because I'm writing about your kids in school. I'm not writing about what's going on in Washington per se. And I think that's, as my career went on, I used to be pretty, I was proud to be a journalist and always have been.
Yeah.
But when people are always kind of dissing you on the Facebook page for no reason at all, it's kind of a bummer.
The world is smaller,
Yes.
and it's in some ways more difficult because of that. Everyone has a voice.
Right.
Not everyone should.
Well, they should have a voice. They shouldn't just maybe blurt it to everybody as if it's the truth. But that's, I can't change that.
No.
I was also thinking, we talked about the internet, and from a more structure about radio stations, newspapers, particularly small independent ones like we've been at. And it's tough. People give hard time about people selling out and stuff. You know what? It's tough. I never blame anybody. And what's really happening more recently is, like in the papers, when you had things like Craigslist shows up, and now, real estate's in the paper, going down. I mean, papers, radio station, advertising is so important. And all that stuff just kept changing the way our advertisers were putting their money,
Yeah.
and it really affected coverage, staffing, and everything. And I think the public has to understand that it's tough, and they definitely support all their local media because everybody's trying to do their best with what they have.
I should mention you retired. I quit because we had new owners who didn't want me to be interviewing people. At first they said, yeah, that's fine, but something I thought was very uncontroversial, they thought was controversial, and I saw that it wasn't going to work out, me and them.
Well, that's very ethical of you. But no, I think the different companies that purchase, I mean, they're not in that town. They don't have the bead on that town like we do. That's not to say that they don't. I mean, we're just glad they rescue the local media sometimes.
Well, their procedure is to pretty much have every station the same.
Yeah. Well, and that, of course, in newspapers and everything. I mean, if you have some continuity, that certainly makes it easy. It's less expensive to run, and everything's done the way it is, and you can funnel everything through one source like accounting and all that stuff. It's for us, for we oldies, and I think that everybody who's been in our position would agree that. It's tough. It's tough when we've had all that independentness. Independent. No one ever was over my shoulder. My publisher gave us free rein, and so I think it's just for me. It's a little difficult.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So
our director lived here or nearby. Our owners in the past never interfered.
Yep.
And we are about out of time.
Yeah, and you know, as always, when I was blabbing on the radio show, you know, I could go on and blab forever, and no one's probably going to want to listen to me.
You were a frequent guest.
But hopefully they'll edit me down. But this has been fun. This has been fun.
It certainly has. This was our first edition of What's Up, and I hope we gave you a pretty good idea of what we'll be doing.
If we know.
Yeah. My first guest, this is Michael Clish, Christine Spangler. I don't have to tell you who that is, longtime area journalist, editor of the Daily Jefferson County Union. She'll no doubt be back on in the future. Join us again. Thank you.
Thanks for stopping in.